Hi, welcome to Sunday morning, afternoon coffee here on Above Life channel. So I am going to say part of the reason why this is afternoon instead of morning coffee is because I took my time getting out of bed this morning because I went out last night. So I'm going to share that with you a little bit. And then we're going to have a conversation about intimacy a little bit. We're going to talk about that because I had one of my super good friends. Let me just make sure this is working here. One of my super good friends and my two of my besties. We One of them asked me a question about intimacy and how it is that I can share with you so much about myself, and kind of along the lines of like, well, okay, good, we're good here. Kind of along the lines of like intimacy on so many different levels, like not just physical intimacy. I think when you hear the word intimacy, you think physical, we think sex, right? I mean, don't you kind of go first, the mammalistic brain goes there, right? Yeah. And then, but intimacy also means how I described it when she was like, "Hey, I'm exploring intimacy and all the ways that I don't allow myself that connection." So I'm going to talk about it here on Sunday Morning Coffee because I think it affects all of us and it impacts all of us. So what it basically boils down to is connection and trust. And so I'm going to talk about those two things. The connection and trust is basically what this topic is about. So first, you want to hear about my night? I'm going to give you some time to jump into the live stream because I did not post this. By the way, I do have, I know, old school Facebook page, Above Life channel on Facebook. You can also find me under Bridgette Inspired on Facebook. I also have Instagram for Bridgette Inspired, but I haven't been on there that much. Um, I've been really trying to, be present for life and do my Above Life channel on Sundays and Mondays. It's when I show up here and I work. Like I need to, focus on generating sessions and business and things like that. So I've also been on TikTok, which has been really fun. But good morning in the chat. If you are new here, just know that if you post in the chat, I will say hello, and we do share that on the replay. So be aware of that. So if you don't want me to call your name out, then don't post in the chat. Hello, Squad Chick. Hello, Darrell. Hello, Dana. Nice to see you. Oh, Nash. Hey, thanks. Nice to see you. Nice to see ya. So in Minnesota this weekend, there I think are definitely purple people. Lots of Prince stuff going on because Prince's birthday, although he was Jehovah's Witness and did not celebrate that later in his lifetime. Prince Day is, I think it's the 7th. I want to say 6th or 7th. Nash will be able to tell me that in the chat. There was a lot of activity this week to celebrate him and his life and his incarnation. We'll call it that way. How about that? Because without his incarnation, there wouldn't be all this hubbub around Paisley Park and Prince and the music scene here in Minneapolis. And so he was a great contributor to that. The 7th. Thank you. All right. And so hello to all of those of you who might be watching because of Prince, because Above Life channel started because of him, because he's the one that said, y'all, you need to start channeling other people. Like, okay, you need to start talking to other people too and share this. So I did, and here I am. Multiple years later. Gosh, God, that was back in 2016. Is that 7 years ago now? Gosh, wow. All right, so last night, bring it back to a Minneapolis vibe, I went to Uptown, which is Lake Street. I was, I think, West Lake Street last night, and at the Loring, is it called the Loring Collaborative? I'll let you know exactly where I was and what was going on because we will promote this incredible play that I was at to support Pride Month, whether you are a queer, a queen, someplace in between or an ally, this would be a great way to support the arts and also the queer community. The Loring Collective, Loring, Loring Collective, empowering queer creatives. And so I went to a play that was called Artistic Tendencies. And so you can find that online. Artistic Tendencies, and they have a show today, and they have shows next weekend is their last weekend, and so it's a very intimate little setting. It's a tiny little theater setting, super, small cast, 4 people. It was amazing, and one of the women in one of the groups that I belong to, was one of the stars of it, and so, there were 4 of us that went to support her and learn about it was the play itself was about internalized homophobia and also a bit about queer history, and specifically queer history in Minneapolis and Loring Park and historic things and facts about that. And so it was an original work. It was an original play that was written and acted in by I can't even think of his name now. This person who amazing. But if you look online, you can see the cast, and oh my gosh, it was so profound. I'm like, this kind of stuff needs to be on big stages everywhere. It was amazing. It was so good. And it just really touched me. Like I almost like there were a couple parts where I literally wanted to cry. And I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Because I'm like, oh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. I was like, it was so profound. And because it touched on the AIDS epidemic, which, if you've watched Above Life Channel for a long time, my dad died of AIDS in 2002. He was a closeted gay man who had a full life in the heteronormative society. And so it was a whole thing. And so he was alive, obviously, during all these times like Stonewall and all these things, this historic, tumultuous, dramatic, and traumatic trauma that occurred when people were just trying to be people have the right to love who they want and how they want. And then society interjecting, no, I don't like that. It's like, well, then focus on your own life. Maybe you should be focusing on your own family because your shit's falling apart. And so now we're in this time, this incredibly, almost like deja vu like time where we're brought back to that time in history. And so it's like this, it was so layered with so many different things because now instead of the AIDS pandemic, we had just had COVID, and then there's all this stuff, and there's uprising, and there's been uprising in Minneapolis it was just amazing. There was this thing at the end of the play that was a talk back where the actors talk about the topics of queer history. And then somebody from Telling Queer History, which is a group, I guess, they just celebrated their 10-year anniversary in the Minneapolis area, in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities. And there was a representative of that group who actually facilitated a discussion with the small, intimate audience. There was like maybe 15 of us in the audience, 18 of us. I don't know how many exactly. And we had this whole conversation about grief and collective grief and how how do you heal from experiences that have happened to you and that you've shared in this collective grief with others, and how does this frame you, and how are you part of this history, and what story do you have during those times, and that kind of thing. It's just freaking profound. I did not expect that going out on a Saturday night necessarily. And it was amazing. And then after, a bunch of us went out to this great little Italian place, and we closed the place down, and went out for drinks and food, and it was just so lovely. It was so lovely. And I got home really late because I carpooled, and so I was like, oh, then I went back to the place where I parked my car, and then I drove home, and it was a long drive because I'm way outside the city. So, but it was awesome. It was very much just an incredible, it's transformative, very enlightening. So, good morning to those of you in the chat. Hey, MJ, nice to see you. The artiste, MJ, the artist, incredibly gifted artist here in the chat. Let me just tell you, MJ, if you have your, if you want to post your access to your art information in the chat, go ahead and do that. Beautiful artist, amazing. She does commissions. I'm sure she still does. And Molly, nice to see you. Jennifer, hey, nice to see you. Hi, nice to see you, Jen. Nice to see you in the chat. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Thinking of you. All right. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. All right. It's technically the afternoon here, by the way. I think you're on the West Coast, right? Yeah, Cali. You're a Cali girl. It is morning for you and afternoon for me. Getting up late, rolling out of bed this morning. And it's okay. No guilt, no shame, no nothing this morning with that. So welcome. We're going to have a conversation about intimacy. So when I say the word intimacy, do you not think about your body first? Do you not connect into this concept of how you're supposed to be in relationships and how you're supposed to have access to people and with people in this way with your body and sharing your body? Isn't that what intimacy really invokes in many of us? This comes from that theme then from last night too, about this, like, what does society tell you? How have you been raised? What is ingrained and subconscious in you about how you should be? Because there's so many messages just in general about how you should be, right? Like the right way, not the right or the left way. Not the right or the wrong way, but the right way. This is the way. This is the way. Like there's no other options here. There's just this, you know, and it's just ingrained. And we just learn this. Like there's a way you sit in the circle, crisscross applesauce in preschool, right? I mean, there's all these things, like there's a way, right? Because there's a schedule and there's a timing and there's this is the way and you learn this rhythm and it's automatic. And there's a way that you drive, there's a way that you get dressed for work. There's a way that you act at your family functions. There's a way that you act at a memorial service or a funeral. There's a way that you show up to a baseball game. There's a way that you park in Minneapolis. There's a way that do you see? There's all these things, right? And they're just constantly running inside of us and we're not even aware of it. So the thing here is the invitation today in the Sunday morning coffee, talk about intimacy, is to be connected, to make a conscious choice, to bring conscious the choice of intimacy, which is connection. So intimacy in this raw, pure, basic form is awareness. Wake up. Coffee. Wake up. Wake up. Are you awake? I so want to say something else here, but I'm not. It's another form of the word awake. Let's awaken our awareness. Become aware, because when you're aware, then you can shift your perspectives. When you're aware, then you can make choice. When you're not aware, when you're just doing stuff autopilot, and sometimes that's very helpful, right? Autopilot stuff, like stuff you do at work sometimes, things you do when you're paying your bills, just click, 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 click. Things that you do in the morning, the brush your teeth, the comb your hair, whatever you're doing, whatever your normal things are. It's kind of just, it's easy to be in. There's some things that are helpful to be in autopilot. But your thoughts that inform action so that you can make choices. Thoughts, action, choices. There's got to be a pause here to allow for awareness, for allow you to be awakened in the moment and be conscious, bring conscious the choices that you're going to make, whether it be what are you going to put in your body. So yesterday, I actually started this a couple of days ago. I've been putting lime instead of lemon. I changed it up. I put lime in water to help me drink more water. And of course, I got my rainbow cup for Pride Month. And I'm balancing the water because my body wants it, and the coffee because it is a pattern. Coffee is a ritual for me. Yeah, it's an automated thing. So the question then is, for me to intimately know myself, I need to be present, to pause, to make the connection between why is coffee such a thing for me. What does it do for me? What does it provide to me? What is my intimate connection with coffee? I can tell you right now, there's one really big one, and it's related to my current events. Many of you know that my grandmother, my dad's mom, passed away recently at the end of April, and I was blessed to be there at her transition moment. I was the one that was her death doula, so to speak, and right there with her. And it was very intimate. It was just her and I. It was very intimate. And that is connected to my connection actually to coffee. Because my grandparents used to always drink coffee. Grandma and grandpa always had coffee going, and so it's a smell, it's a scent that when and the sound of it brewing in the old coffee pots. Now I have like an espresso, so I just push the button, but it's that sentimental tie, that intimate what it means to me. So intimacy in part also is that connection of what something means to you. It's the relationship of the meaning. And so intimacy, we talked a little bit about the initial entrance of intimacy is like about the body and the sharing of the body and the access to the body. And then we shifted into this conversation about connection and awareness and how intimacy is this true, really true presence of how we choose choice, because that's where your power is in choice, how we choose to live, how we choose to connect, how we choose to be in awareness and recognition of the meaning. What does this coffee mean? It means for me, it does create a sense of home. I lived with my grandparents. Some of you may not, I don't know if I shared that. I'll have to share my story about when I moved out of my house when I was 18. Went to college and I moved out. Like I came home one weekend after my first year of college. I packed everything up and I just left. It's very kind of dramatic actually for me. Like it was me being a kid, being like a young person, just going, I don't want this, blah, 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 I want this. And so just leaving. And then I was like basically homeless for about 2 months. There's a whole story about this. And then, but I still went on to college and graduated and did the whole thing. It was not easy. It was a struggle. And also, I was very blessed and fortunate because my grandparents supported me. They kept reaching out to me during this time that I was separated from my family, estranged from them, and on purpose by my choice, not my family's choice at all, by me being young, in that place where I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, basically. And I had to fuck around and figure it out. And I did. I did. And my grandparents always just stood by me. They sent me cards and they just reached out to me and they tried to stay in contact with me during this whole like 6 month really intense period. And they just supported me. And so then when I left school in the summer, then to come back, like when I wasn't in school during the summertime, instead of trying to get an apartment and try to like just blow my money paying for rent, I got to go and live with my grandparents and I didn't have a car or anything. So they drove me everywhere, like to work and back and all that stuff. And I worked my ass off to try to save money to go back to school the next year. And they just helped me. They were like another set of parents for me, truly. And so the meaning of coffee for me is really this family. It's family and support. That's what it is. That's what it is. And so now I'm trying to balance that because I have my own family and my own need for support in so many different ways. And now my body needs more healthy, not just coffee all the time. It needs water, right? So I'm trying to find ways to balance that past automatic programming with the present and what I need here today now to be healthy. So there's so many layers of how you can explore concepts like intimacy. It's not just what you think it is, it's so much more. It's so much broader than that, right? So for me personally, and I shared this with my friend this morning, was that Intimacy for me is really about trust. And for me, that's a life lesson and a life theme. I've really struggled with trust. And I enter in cautiously optimistic with new friendships, relationships, jobs, whatever it is, cautiously optimistic, and I want to trust, and yet I have in the back of my mind, okay, something's gonna happen. So do you really want to be so trusting, so open? Do you want to really believe everything somebody tells you? All this stuff. Like, do you want to believe what somebody else says, or do you want to believe what you feel in your gut and not your heart, where you might be, um, overly worried and bringing up past stuff, and your brain being suspicious, bringing up past stuff, but in your gut, in your total intuition, alignment with yourself, like that kind of trust. And so that involves a really deep commitment to intimacy in yourself. You have to know yourself. And we always doubt ourselves. We second guess ourselves. We self-sabotage. So it's a constant awareness that you need to recommit consistently with yourself and forgive yourself quickly. Quickly. Don't hold grudges against yourself. Don't beat yourself up. I'm going to say this, what not to do, and you're going to do it because it's ingrained. But if I say it, then we have this collective awareness that we're intimate right now because I know you and you know me like that, right? Because we're all doing that. I am so exhausted and tired as an empath, and I'm sure many of you are as well, from connecting to each other because of misery and suffering and pain and trauma and uniting against a common enemy. How about we unite and align inside of ourselves and then love from our center in a fullness and connect intimately with other people in a fullness? And that takes guts. Because some people are going to be assholes anyway, because in their fullness, they're assholes. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're scared. I like to believe that we should just, to the best of our ability, assume positive intention and assume people are doing their best. Like Brene Brown says, just assume if you just give people the benefit of the doubt that they're doing their best, it makes your life a little bit easier. Just because even if they're not, you're at least feeling good about your ability to assume the best, to feel compassion. You're not giving away something to somebody else. You're not giving them your light and your sunshine and your rainbows and your unicorns and your happiness. By doing that, you're just literally maintaining your peace. And that is the commitment you make to yourself in intimacy, to maintain your peace, to allow other people to be as fucked up as they need to be. And you have your grit. And your grit is from the pearls and the diamonds inside you. It's from that, the good stuff. And you get to share that however you want with whoever you want and at any time you want. But you're not doing yourself any favors by holding yourself back because you're afraid to get hurt. And believe you me, I am a master of that. I know how to hold myself back. I've been doing it for 50 fucking years. And I'm very sweary today. I noticed. I'm very sweary today. I actually had a friend of mine that she said to me, this was a couple of years ago. She said, actually a former client, she said, you have a switch. And I'm like, what? She's like, you have major boundaries. Like you're good with your boundaries and this and that. I'm like, I'm not good with my boundaries. I just don't want anybody I don't want anybody in my intimate space. Okay. I don't want anybody taking advantage of me or riding my coattails or just asking me psychic questions because they're my friends. And they just want to know, but really they are people that are like, should be clients, not friends. They should be clients. You know what I mean? But she said to me, you have a switch and that you let people in to a certain degree, to a certain point. And then if they cross your boundaries, you flip the switch and they're out. You reset the boundaries and you're like, boop, push them back like security. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I used to do that. up until the last 3 years, where I've made a conscious choice to allow myself to have boundaries that are healthy, but not boundaries to overly protect myself from any kind of human interactions or experiences that might provide me with opportunity to deepen my connection to myself, because we learn from other people. Other people reflect. They trigger us. Damn right, they trigger us. They're a reflection of ourselves and our lessons and our messages, but they also reflect our love and our goodness and our creativity and our inspiration and the things that are so good about you. Other people reflect that back at you, because you don't know how good you are and talented you are and skilled you are until someone else observes that and they speak it to you. And it takes multiple people to do that to you often in order for you to actually start to accept that that is the truth. The truth that you already know, by the way, inside yourself. So other people help us by reminding us of what's true for us. And sometimes they do it by opposition and challenge. And sometimes they do it, which you miss how often the beauty is showing up in your life. Because it's not just human people, it's your pets. It's the little doggy you pass every day when you're running down the trail and that owner's walking their dog. Or it's the beautiful skyline of the city that you overlook. Or it's the sound of the trees that they make when the wind picks up right before a storm. Or it's the flowers when they start to bloom in your neighbor's garden. Like, you don't have to take care of that shit, but you get to appreciate and enjoy it. It's that. Or it's that moment, that incredibly intimate moment of joy when that song comes on the radio. Just a small town girl. Like that, right? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell into the microphone. Sorry about that. I probably just blew out your ears. I just realized that. Sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about the volume of that. I'm not sorry about the expression of the joy in the moment I just felt just right now. I just felt joy in that moment, right? I just felt that joy. Did you feel that joy? Because you know what I'm talking about. Will you post in the chat the music, the song lyric, or the song that comes up when you're driving in the car and you just go boom, like your heart bursts open. It's like, woohoo! Oh, I did it again. Sorry. Like that. It just makes you come alive. Those beautiful moments like that, that's intimacy. That's joy. That's your momentary connection with that incredible intimacy of the universe aligning you and filling you with joy. But it's not coming from outside of you. It's like lighting that spark of the firework inside of you, and then it shoots off that joy. It's like that. It's like that. What music, what song is it of yours? Post it. And if you are watching this after the fact, after the live stream today, please post the song lyric or the song in. The links won't show up, by the way, but post the title of the song or the line from the song or the lyrics, the full lyrics if you want to. You're invited to do that in the comments, okay? Because other people might also be able to resonate with that and go, hey, let's share the joy. And that will provide an intimate connection between the 3 of you or the 4 of you or the 2 of you. Like, love. Oh, I love that one. Me too. Me too. Start that. That is the opportunity for intimacy of connection. Okay, it's as simple as that. All right. Let me just take a peek now. This has been a great chat. Let me take a peek now at the live stream, the chat, to say hello. All right, my friends. I'm okay with swearing. Thanks. Hey, Drew. Hello to Denmark. I have a friend actually overseas right now. She's in the Netherlands. I don't know the proper way. What do you say? Denmark, Holland, the Netherlands? I don't know. Had this whole conversation the other day. Amsterdam. Okay, there's a lot of stuff here I don't understand. Hey, Patty, thanks for being here. Into Swingtown, Steve Miller. Okay, we gotta listen to that. We gotta listen to that. Oh, if you have anything to post too, and you wanna share stuff, you don't have to post it necessarily on the channel. You can go to Facebook if you're a Facebooker, Above Life channel on Facebook. Cold brew is yummy. Yes, it is. It is Denmark. Okay. It's not bad either, I should say. I should clarify this. It's not bad to think of your body first when you think about intimacy. That's great. I mean, that could be very beautiful, intoxicating, and sensual. And for many, that is a sacred healing journey that many people are on. And I recognize that many people are on that. So the body component could also be triggering. But it's just like I said with other people, the reflection back, right? It could be a triggering thing, a lesson, an opportunity, an invitation for healing that's inviting you deeply intimate with yourself, but it could also be an incredible expression of freedom. I started on like a Shakti journey several years ago to open to whatever the Shakti meant for me and the Kundalini energy. And then in the last few years, sacred sensuality and sacred sexuality and just beautiful, just a whole bunch of healing around that. So yeah, so there's definitely room for conversation about that. We should do that on a Sunday morning coffee. Oh, that'd be a little spicy. Yeah, that'd be a little spicy, which might be great. Might be exactly what we need nowadays. We'll have a dirty chai with that. We'll have a chai tea latte with a shot of espresso in it. Mhm. That actually makes me I am actually ooh, that's yummy. I might need one of those. I might need one of those. All right, beautiful people. Mm. Hello, Nikki. Hello, C Rose. Nice to see you. All right, thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow we have a channeling session. I have so many people I want to channel right now. One, because it's Pride Month, so I kind of want to keep that energy flowing. But I also am super aware that I got to do MJ also this month. I'd like to do him this month. I might end up doing it closer to 4th of July. I don't know because there's too many people I want to channel and talk to. So we'll see. Join me tomorrow for our a weekly channeling session here on Above Life channel. I hope I've inspired your spirit today and filled you with some hope and encouraged you to live your life. This is your life after all, and you get to live it. Just live it. Thanks for being here.